Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and continue with the the Cubeman model. So by this video you should have been done with the modeling and adding materials to it. We're going to next work on what we call shape hints in Blender, so we can create shapes for the eyes being surprised, his eyes closing, and then same for the mouth, one that's smiling, which is the base, a frowned expression, and then an O expression. So to do that, let's go ahead and we'll start with the mouth. I'm going to go hit 1 to go into front view. And then you want to go over to data or object data properties, which is this green triangle in your properties panel. Shape keys is the second box right here. And let's actually, before we do that, I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode, and I want to add a loop cut in the middle here to see if it might help me with modeling. So I'm going to hit Control R and then once left click and then left click again to confirm that I want it in the middle. Okay, back to object mode, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign to add the base shape key. This is just telling Blender this is the normal one. We're going to hit the plus sign again to add another one. Double click where it says key 1, and we're going to call this frown. If yours is sad at the moment, then you would put yours as happy. So it's two different. These two have to be different. Okay, where it says value, we're going to put this at 1.0, and then we're going to hit enter. Okay, with this frown selected, we're going to hit tab to go into edit mode, and we're going to go into X-ray mode, which is these two squares up over here. And it might actually help if I'm back in solid mode. Yes, that way I can see the bottom. Okay, so this just helps when I box select in X-ray mode. When I orbit, you notice that the back ones are also selected because we did extrude this backwards. If I don't have X-ray mode on, if I just box select these two, the ones in the back don't actually get selected, as you can see. So I'm going to go back to front view, turn on X-ray mode, and I'm going to box select these three. Now turn on proportional editing, which is this button up at the top. I'm going to hit G once and then Z. And my influence circle for this proportional editing is way too big, so I'm using my scroll wheel to make this smaller. And I'm just taking this frown down like so. GZ. Right. I'm going to turn off X-ray mode to see what that looks like. Turn it back on. G, oops, and then Z. I just don't want it to look lumpy, so that looks good about right there. So I'm going to go back to object mode, and my frown face looks good. We're going to hit the plus sign for another shape key, and this one we're going to call O. Alright, so for the O, we're going to go back into edit mode. Let me actually go back into object mode. For the frown, I'm going to take this value back to 0. Then I'm going to select O, shape key, go into edit mode. Alright, for this one it might be tricky for some of us depending on how we model the mouth. So I'm going to actually try to box select these over here. Oops, X-ray mode. Box select these. I'm going to hit S to scale up. Maybe move these closer. Starting to have some overlaps. So. Okay. Sorry, back to shape keys. Oop, my influence circle is way too big. Okay. There we go. Do I have to bring these back? Oh. I'm gonna do... So again, you're just trying to get some sort of O face going on here. Okay, and I'm gonna turn off X-ray mode for a bit, see what that looks like. So this one's unfortunately moving in way too back inward, so I'm gonna hit GY. So GY to move that forward. Okay. Maybe these two. GY. But I'm going to go back to front view, and that looks surprised enough for me. So I'm going to go back into object mode. Alright, so this is how this works. When I increase this value back to 1 for the O face, you should see the O expression. Drop that back to 0. If I go to frown and increase this value, we should see the character frown. So we'll do the same thing for the eyes next. I'm going to click on this eye right here. We're going to hit the plus sign. Oops, sorry, that's vertex groups. Plus sign in the shape keys, and that's its base. I'm going to hit plus sign again, and this one's going to be the surprise. And let's go ahead and we'll do the value 1.0 for surprise. We're going to go into edit mode, turn on X-ray, box select everything, and we're going to scale this up on the Z-axis. I'm going to turn off proportional editing here. So I'm going to hit S and then Z and make his eye pretty big, like so. Now I'm going to turn off X-ray mode and go back to object mode. And that looks about right. Alright, and we don't actually have to like squish the eye necessarily. I can actually come to the range minimum and type in -0.7 and then enter. So this will now be able to go down to -0.7. So you can see -0.7 and then 1. And then 0 will be just the base. But yeah. Okay, I could even just enter 0 here too. We could do the same thing for this eye, but we could also just duplicate this one since it already has the shape keys. So I'm going to do just that. I'm actually going to click on this eye and hit delete. Do Shift D and then X and slide this eye over. And now they should both have shape keys, the same ones. All right, perfect. So once you're done with shape keys, feel free to play around with them if you want. Testing the value slider is what allows you to see if it's working. We're going to do a file save as, and I'm going to move this over to 06. And the next thing we'll be moving on to is layer parenting.